This is augmented reality, and we've been using it for quite some time to teach about neurophysiology and the human brain. One of the problems, though, is that your hands are tied. It's very hard to take notes during a lesson when you're looking down a tablet device. And so we were looking for ways to teach that kept the hands free while also allowed students to be part of the class. And this is where the HoloLens came in. The HoloLens is a device which can show and render the 3D illustrations and models in front of the learner, but also their hands are free and they're part of the session because they can see everything else. It's a unique form of augmented reality. The problem was there wasn't that much research showing the effectiveness of it. So we set out to answer the question of whether or not the HoloLens is as effective for learning with augmented reality as our tablet-based technology. Let's go and have a look now at some of the data. Hello, my name is Associate Professor Christian Moro, and today we'll be looking at an overview of our study, HoloLens and Mobile Augmented Reality in Medical and Health Sciences Education, published in BJET. The rationale behind this study was the fact that augmented reality has the potential to enhance learning. We have used mobile-based augmented reality through tablets for quite some time. And I've seen other universities around the world use it, where you hold the tablet and you hold a marker in your hand, which can become a 3D model of the human body, whether it be the brain, in our case, the different organ systems. The problem here is that it's very hard to write and take notes when your hands are fully immersed in the app. And this is where the HoloLens came in. What if there was a head-mounted display that allowed you to see everything around you and be part of that room, but also be able to engage in 3D models? The benefits of using 3D models for us as educators is that it empowers us to develop and design whatever we like. We can add disorders and diseases to the brain and the models. We can change and age and add variation to different parts of the body. So there is a benefit in using 3D models over the silicon models or other specimens that we have. So we know that AR has the potential to enhance learning, but is it effective through the HoloLens? There were some concerns here. Our hypothesis was more that we were a bit worried that perhaps the HoloLens may be confusing. The idea behind it is great. We can have 3D models and augmented reality in use while your hands are free and you're still part of the class and part of any other learning experience. The problem is, it can be confusing. It's new, it's novel. Is it distracting? Are they still learning? So the aim here was to assess the effectiveness of learning when an identical lesson was delivered through augmented reality in the HoloLens or a mobile handheld device. We had 40 participants at a first-year university in Australia. A randomisation allocation consignment performed. How the app was made was I developed it in Unity 3D with C# coding for the interactive elements, and how it worked was it was simply an export into the HoloLens through Microsoft Visual Studio or an export into an APK for a Samsung tablet. So an identical lesson. The interactivity was slightly different. You tap on the screen for the AR tablet, whereas you tap in the air for the AR HoloLens, but it was identical. So we now have the main difference in the variable being the mode of delivery, whereas the content was the same. We then assess outcomes of test scores before and after the lesson, adverse health effects, and perceptions of the delivery mode as 3 things. So to look into the quiz results, they were no different. Our fears of the HoloLens being a distracting means of information delivery were unfounded. There was learning in both. So participants had increases in pre-tests and from pre to post-tests, while also the post-tests were higher in other levels. The way this was structured, we did a pre-test and then the post-test, which had identical questions to the pre to see if they'd learnt those questions. And then we had additional questions that were new, they hadn't seen before. Did they learn from the lesson? Our benchmarking found no difference in the pre-test before the study started, but they all learnt across both delivery modes. This was a study about the neurophysiology of the human brain. So looking into cerebral cortex, different lobes, how the brain works, how it's structured, that kind of thing. So we have here new questions and then the same as the pre-test questions. In both cases, they learnt. There was no difference between learning AR from the HoloLens or from the tablet device. One of the things that we don't want to do is harm students as they learn. And as we have moved in our program more into virtual reality to supplement our learning at augmented reality, one of the worries is students becoming dizzy or students becoming distracted, like I've said before. We don't want to harm our learners while they're learning. And in this case, there was a little bit of discomfort across the board. The HoloLens is heavy, but the tablet does, you have to hunch over it and hold it. So a little bit of discomfort in both, nothing significant, although the HoloLens was reported a little bit higher. But dizziness was exclusive to the HoloLens. And that makes a bit of sense because it's on your head and you're looking around. So there are slight adverse health effects when moving from the mobile-based to the HoloLens, but these were cleared up instantly as soon as the device was taken off their head. So during the lesson, some learners may find some distractions in regards to adverse health effects, but nothing major. In regards to the perceptions, do they enjoy learning from it? And this again meets that concern that sometimes you want to experience being in the HoloLens, but do you feel like it's a good learning tool? We found consistently the learners do enjoy AR. Slightly higher in the HoloLens for some of the questions. This is for a 5-point Likert scale, nearly unanimously high. It probably couldn't replace it, and we agree with that. We don't think this is a replacement. We feel like it's a supplement to add to the traditional lectures, traditional content deliveries, the normal models that you use in an anatomical and physiological class. And then the one significant, though, was that the instructions were clearer in the HoloLens. The tablet, using any device with a model that can move, it's much easier to have the model take over the whole screen in the tablet by moving their hands forward, whereas in the HoloLens, you have to walk forward. So we do find a little bit that the software, in this case, is a little bit clearer in the HoloLens than in the tablet, which was a nice surprise. As a conclusion, and please have a look at the full article, there's lots more data there. I haven't mentioned just as an overarching comment for a video abstract, but the provision of content through AR was well received. It's effective in the HoloLens and tablet-based or mobile-based devices, so either way is fine. It's well received by learners, they enjoy learning from it, and it's a nice addition. Augmented reality is an enjoyable and engaging supplement, not to overtake any traditional teaching, but to supplement and add to it, to enhance that learning experience and really meet the needs of an individualized way of learning for a diverse cohort of students. Thank you.